Okay guys, welcome to part 4 of the tutorials on this side scroller that we're making. So in this one we are going to fix up some stuff with these scripts. We're going to make sure that they actually interact with the car when they get run into. And we're going to add a coin for a pickup. So right now we're not actually going to make our health or our pickup score yet. We are just going to sort out the initial work for this. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our sprite up. So I've already had a bit of a go with this already, so it's currently on multiple. I've changed it to 256 pixels per unit because our sprite sheet here, each frame is 256 by 256. So that would make the most sense. Go into the sprite editor, and the way I've sliced this one is I have actually done it by cell size. So I did not 64, 256 by 256, and I sliced it, and all of these are then perfect. Okay, hit apply, and we'll go back to the editor. You'll see that you've got your 4 frames of our coin animation. Okay, so next thing is we need to actually grab the animation window. So go to Window, Animation, Animation. I'm going to drop mine here, but it doesn't really matter where you do it. And then we need to create a sprite that we can animate. So we're going to go up and create a 2D sprite in the hierarchy. And I'm going to call it coin. Okay. Over here, let's create an animator. I'm going to call it coin anim. And now we've got our animation ready to be set up properly. All we have to do now is select these 4 frames and drag them over here. Then if I hit play, you can't see anything right now, but let's bump up our sprite and make sure that it's being rendered on the top. There we go. Okay. You can see that that's going incredibly fast. It does look like it's turning, but it's way too fast. If we just grab that and stretch it out, now it's too slow, but you can see how it's working. Okay, and back to about there maybe. Not bad. Feel free to adjust it however you like. It is your game after all. Lovely. I'm pretty happy with that. I just need to get it to the right size. Let's try 1. Yeah, 1 scale. Seems pretty perfect. Okay, there is our first coin. Because we need it to move, we need to move it with everything else. We're going to add another component to it, and I'm pretty sure you can guess what it is. It's going to be FG scroll. Now you could be thinking that we can't use FG scroll for this because right now we're using this as the same thing for obstacles, and that shouldn't work. When you run into the coin, you want it to be a good thing. When you run into the obstacle, it should be a bad thing. So yeah, you're right. We just need to fix this up a little. We're going to set up some extra stuff. What I want to do is I want to set up the tags for this. So I'm going to add a tag and just add one to the list. I'm going to call it coin. And all coins will have the tag coin. We're going to come back to this. This is going to be really important. Okay. Again, barrel, I'm going to add another tag. Just going to give it an obstacle tag because I don't think this is going to be any different. I'm going to make it a capital because I already made the coin a capital. So let's be consistent. And you may notice what I've done here. I've messed up. I didn't do it on the prefab. So let's go and do it on the barrel prefab. Set that to be an obstacle. Control S to save. And do the same for the tree. Obstacle. Control S to save. Okay. So if we go into any of our barrels, we can see that they are obstacles. Same with our trees. Grass is untagged, road is untagged. The player itself is untagged as well. But, you know, there's one already there for player, so let's just tag it as a player. Oh, oops. Yeah, no, that's good. Okay. There's one more thing that we have to do before we move on, and that is give our coin a box collider. Actually, let's check out our colliders. Let's give our coin a circle collider, because it's a circle, it fits. Let's do that. That's easiest. So let's just play it. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so now let's play our game and see how it's going so far. Yes, we're running into it. We're running into the barrels. We're running into the trees. Okay, that's everything we're expecting at the moment. Now we just need to play with the FG scroll script. Open that up and we'll have a look. So what we actually want to do in this is we want to create a new void. We don't want to just go into fixed update and say, if it's colliding with this, then do this. There's an easier way. So if you just type in on collision enter 2D, that will create a new event handler. So whenever there is a collision, it will run whatever code is in here. So there is a really helpful thing we can do. We can say if GameObject.tag equals, and I'm going to just put the code in for obstacle first. Okay, what this is going to do, GameObject, the GameObject, this component is attached to. A component is always attached to a game object. That's perfect. Whatever object this is attached to, it's going to check the tag of it, and if it's one of our obstacles, it'll run this code. Let's chuck in an else if statement. We could just do an else, but I'm trying to future-proof this. Okay, tag, and I believe I called it coin. Yeah, I did. Cool. And if it's a coin, it'll run this code. So there's something we haven't done yet, and it is the debug console. So if you want to write to the debug log, what you can do is just type in debug.log and type in whatever you want it to print out. Right now, I'm going to make it say player collided with, and then I'm going to print GameObject.name, and that'll say whatever this is attached to. Okay. Next, we're going to just write a bit of code to rotate whatever we run into if it's an obstacle, and so it looks like it's been run over. So I'm going to write in transform.rotation and set that to a quaternion.euler 0, 0, minus 90. You can take my word for it that that works. I've tried it and it has to be the z-axis. It's a little strange that it's the z-axis, but if you rotate it in either of these two, it is actually, it turns it away from the 2D face that we're looking at, so it will look invisible. Now we're going to set our box collider to turn off for a bit while we drive over our obstacle. So first we need to go back up here and we need to declare that we're going to be using them. So box collider 2D, and I'm going to call it B collider. Okay, next in the start void we need to set the box collider to be the one we're currently using. So B collider is going to equal get component we're going to say we're going to be getting the box collider 2D. And that will take the box collider on this component and let us access it through B collider. Okay. Now, we are ready to write our script. B collider dot enabled equals false. Lovely. So what I'm fairly sure about is that I've actually got my... So what I'm fairly sure about is I actually drew my objects to appear above my car so that it looked cool when I drove under the tree. So the part of the tree that doesn't count as a collider. So what I'm actually going to do now is I need to add another component here for my sprite renderer. And I'm going to call it renderer, sprite renderer. Then I just need to set the sorting order to be 1 so that it's below my car, because if I remember correctly, my car is on 2. Okay, so that is going to be great. Okay, what do we want to do if we collide with a coin? So once we collect a coin, I'm going to put a node in here later. So play coin noise. So what I actually want to do to my coin is after I play the noise, I'm going to make the coin disappear. So that is going to be using our sprite renderer. So if I go renderer here as well, dot enabled, I can make that false. And I'll stop rendering it for the moment. Okay, so one final thing we're going to do before we test it is, you may have realized, I certainly didn't the first time I recorded this section, that we are still referencing a box collider here, and we haven't actually turned our coin collider off. So this here is something I forgot to delete before. It's a bit of a spoiler, but we need to create a thing for our circle collider. So all I'm going to do, just going to copy that. Circle collider 2D. And I need to make sure that's C collider. Copy that. C collider is going to equal get component circle collider 2D. And then down here we need to turn C collider dot enabled to false. Okay. Now we can go and test our game. Also, I think I just realized why the coin's not showing up. Let's give it the sprite renderer. Okay, there we go. So when it's not animating, it'll just look like coin and then 0, which is our main look of the coin. Boom. Okay, there we go. And you'll see here that none of our objects fix themselves up after they go off the edge. They're still falling over. Our coin is still gone. Let's fix that up. Also, what is up with that tree? Okay, we'll have a look at that later. That seems like my mistake and not one that can be passed on to you. Okay, let's check out our script again. When the object falls off the edge, if it goes past there, it will go back to the front. What we want it to do when it goes back to the front is, let's just copy this if statement and pick out what we do and don't need. We don't need the debug log. We do need to change the rotation back. We probably want to change all these back. So what I'm going to do, set these back to the default. So that means true. You can actually save a little bit of time by hitting an exclamation mark before these, but up to you. Change that back to 3 like it was before, and let's give that a whirl. Okay, and look at everything back bright and normal once it comes back over the other side. Very nice. And if we go to our console here, you can see that I am colliding with many, many objects, and it tells you which one I am colliding with. Okay, looks good. So I reckon we wrap that up there. Next tutorial, let's sort out some displays on the screen so we can sort out some health and we can sort out some score. And then after that, we might get into some sound. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.